thank you for listening to us tonight. I realize this is kind of late notice, however, we also received late notice. The topic of our conversation tonight is, it has to do with new Idaho law, Idaho Code 335801. It has to do with the Local Innovation School Act. And the reason why we're bringing it to your attention is because earlier in the year, I informed the board that we were going after one of the 20 slots in the state to become a mastery-based school. We just received word just a few days ago that yes, we were selected to be one of those schools. There's a little caveat to that though. We wrote a grant before the state figured out how much money they were going to throw at the schools. We wrote a grant and we asked for just short of $440,000. The state came back after all the schools had submitted their applications with $1 million price tag on how they were going to divide the funds up. And so when they responded to us saying, congratulations, you have now been selected as one of these schools in the state, there's the caveat of we need to talk about the financial side. So we're still kind of in the gray there because we have not been able to contact the state in regards to, okay, what do you mean by we need to talk about the financial side? In the interim, we have also started to go after something else though, and it has to do with this becoming an innovation school in the state. Every year for the next 5 years, they're going to select 10 schools per year to have this classification. Basically what this does is it increases the latitude in regards to finessing state required, just state requirements around education. And so in a small school like ours, we would have to work with you guys and submit something to the state. The state board of ed has to approve it. And it's basically we're entering into a contract where my guess is a lot of small schools around the state are going to probably go after this because in regards to like finding staff, we have a hard time finding staff in certain subjects being a remote rural school. And so we might be able to finesse our endorsement areas where somebody like Mr. Jones, he holds a law degree, a naval engineering degree, he might be able to teach a trig class, even though he doesn't hold a math endorsement. He's very well versed in math. It opens the doors for many, many things. And what I'm going to do right now is Mike Turnland is here, Marty Jones is here. I'm going to let them take over, especially on the legal side because this, I've had to refer to my local lawyer several times because reading through the legal stuff, it's just not straightforward verbiage. And so, Mike, I'll let you take over.
Have you had any of our guys?
Good evening. I'm going to talk about the advantages that this gives Clark Fork High School, and then Marty's going to explain what you folks need to do. So the Innovation School, we have gotten mastery, and we're very excited about that. But for us, with a small staff and a growing population, this gives us flexibility that we would not otherwise have. So I have 4 advantages that this would give us. And please be mindful. Now this came to us from Representative Sage Dixon. He's the one who let us know. He and I are kind of email buddies. I've never met the gentleman, but we email a lot. And he says, Mike, you guys got to do this. In fact, from the Senate floor and the House floor, I've already recommended you, Clark Fork High School. So he's right. It's a perfect fit. Number 1, as Phil mentioned, it allows teachers to teach out of certification, but not out of competencies. For example, Marty, who is both a lawyer and an engineer, could teach trig, or he could teach calculus. He's competent. Now, for example, I wanted to teach a few years back, I was going to take over the double entry bookkeeping class. We have an accounting class from one of the other teachers. I have a business degree, and I could do that. I approached the state about getting certified. It would take me 3 years of additional education to get certified to teach typing and accounting. It's not practical. So this would allow us to leverage what abilities we do have for our students. And again, it wouldn't be outside of it'd be out of our certification, but not our competencies. It would allow for, and this is really cool, it would allow for us to increase our intercurricular instruction. We've been doing a lot of cool things out of Clark Fork, really cool things. And one of them was we've done an integrated speech class. So where we didn't just have an English teacher teaching speech, we had the science teacher, we had the history teacher, and we had a social science teacher and the English teacher all doing this cross-curricular, interdisciplinary speech class. And if we got the Innovation School designation, we could do that wholesale. We could just completely bring a whole bunch of different classes together, art and history, history and English and government and so forth, and give the kids a holistic education rather than one that's splintered in just by topic. Another thing that we could do is we could do our experiential learning track, which is our crown jewel, and it's very successful, and we are so excited about that. We could integrate that better into our classroom. So we could make some of that for credit. Like right now, it's by design, it's not meant to be for credit. Because the state requires IC codes, teacher certifications, it becomes totally unwieldy and impractical. Now we could attack that from a different way. We could start doing customized individual tracks for our students to get credit, especially in regards to their college readiness or their career readiness. And then lastly, it will fit in beautifully hand in glove with our mastery program. It's like Phil was saying, there's no downside to this. It's perfect. We need it, and it'll give us the type of flexibility and opportunities we would otherwise not have because of the constraints of the way the State Board of Education establishes how schools ought to be run. And it's just a beautiful thing. And so now Marty's going to explain what you folks need to do.
Thank you very much. First, a caveat, I'm not a practicing lawyer in Idaho. I was practicing law in California before moving up here. You know, since I left that behind, I haven't done it. But I do advise, and this is how I would do it if I was still in this business. So I'm not here as a lawyer per se. But as I looked at this, and I was one of the first with Mike to see this law when it came off as a proposal. And the state is looking for schools and organizations, you know, districts, charters, to find better ways to teach and better ways to make stuff for their students. They decided rather than set this up as a top-down directive, let's let the schools figure out what they can do. Try different things, experiment with different things. Some things may work, some things may fail. So we've embraced this along the lines of what we're doing with our track system and other things. So we want to show it. And as Mike described to you, there's lots of potential to how we'll improve what we do as a school. The requirements of the law are that we have to reach an agreement, called an innovation school agreement, with the board. It requires a majority of the teachers, principal, and the superintendent, and the board to sign on it. Says, okay, we want to go ahead and do this. There are a number of aspects written into the law that have to be included in the agreement, which you would ordinarily call the boilerplate. And there are a few things that we have to specify. Things like, what are our graduation requirements going to be? They're going to take a lot more consideration in being able to spell it out. Conventionally, and the way we do it now, we have class hours. We have to have so many credits in order to graduate. The transition over to the mastery system says, well, we're not really going to divide it up so much into credits, although we can calculate credits from what we do. But we're going to have a pathway for students who come into the school, and they want to graduate and do a certain thing. The pathway will take them there. And the pathway will incorporate all the state's requirements for the testing and make sure that they're mastering all the topics that the state says they should be. So it'd be a little bit of a translation of this. It's going to look different. So,
Can I ask a quick question?
yes.
I hate to interrupt, but I'm just thinking about like the next level with college. How would that look for a student to get into college? You know,
A good question. The way it's done, we're kind of modeling what we do after a district in Alaska that does this, and they have a formula for calculating credit equivalence. So you can have a report card that has a master's that says, I am learning this, I have mastered this topic, and this topic, and this topic, and this topic, and that equates to a person going through and getting so many credits over the same course.
If I may, are you familiar with the mastery system?
but what you have told me about.
Right, so the way the mastery works is this. Today, in a standard school in Idaho, we're dictated by the clock. We have one semester, we have to get through this topic, this content area. Okay, we have a scope and sequence. We have 80 days to do it. Kids, get your books out. Here we go. And it's teacher-centric, and you go down, Everybody's the same, we're all on the same page, we're all doing it together. Mastery says, no, it's not teacher-centric, it's student-centric. Some kids can do it faster, some kids need more time. So we assign the credit, which would be a semester equivalent, when that child has demonstrated mastery. Mastery means they get a B or higher. Proficiency is a B, mastery is an A. 79% is not enough. So these kids may need more time. And for some, it's a lot more work. But they come out far more competent, far more knowledgeable. So we would get out of the semester mold. That would be part of this. We wouldn't have a 60-hour seat time. Carnegie units, that's absurd. So the state says if you're in there for 60 hours, you've been there in enough to get a grade. But that's why we have D's and C's and F's, because they haven't had enough time. But we don't have enough time, we have to finish, because now we're down to 50 days. Now we're down to 40 days. Hurry up, kids. We're down to 30 days, come on. And at the end of it, you get what you get. You can't retake those tests, you can't revisit the material. So we're done with that. So the mastery allows us to pace the kids along within their abilities. They need more time, we give it to them. If they need less time, awesome, get them going.
Yeah. No, and I understand that.
Yeah.
It was just the translation from a high school GPA grades
Oh, yeah.
that you have to turn in.
Chugat just worked that out. They-
And I can speak to that a little bit also, because I've contacted some of the colleges and universities, our local ones, and they said, oh yeah, no problem, it's already been worked out. We have had homeschoolers for years and years and years who are, a lot of them
Same
base
type
their
of-
entry into
okay.
colleges the same way. In regards to what Mike was talking about with the master-based instruction, I bet you we are probably 80+% there in our building already, and we're actually seeing, I'd say the majority of the students are actually outpacing where they normally would be in the traditional system. So it's kind of exciting. Some of the kids who really struggled are really moving at a pretty rapid rate this year, so it's kind of really neat to see. But in regards to responding to your initial question, yes, I've already spoke to, like I said, several colleges and stuff, and they said, oh yeah, no worry whatsoever.
Oh,
I have a question.
Yes.
What did you said you applied for 400,000?
Just short of $440,000 master.
What was that for?
Well,
It was all kinds of, it was all kinds of stuff.
There's a lot of things that go into the master. Where we say we're 80% there, we're 80%, trying. But we find a lot of things that are incomplete. When you have a whole classroom of students who are going at their own paces, I want to be able to provide them with content at their own pace. Which means I can't sit up here in front of the class and expect to talk to everybody and have them be on the same page at the same time. So we're trying to develop content that we can deliver electronically or through other means that allows
The
them.
reason I ask is simply this: if you don't get your 400,000, what are we going to have to kick up in order to make this thing work?
Zero.
In
We're
addition
zero.
to what we're already paid for.
Right now, we're doing it. The $440,000 went into, a big chunk of it was for a new learning management system, so we can track, just what Mr. Jones was talking about. The other parts are partially PD. There were several line items that we had to outline, and that's where we have to talk to the state. Is it advantageous for us to say, yes, we're going to go we're going to become part of the Mastery network in the state of Idaho? If it's advantageous to us and the district, then by all means, yes. If it's not, we still want to move forward with what we're doing, and with what we're presenting tonight, this would be another avenue that would help us do that.
Well, I think it's a great program. It's about time they came up with something like this.
Yeah, I
Particularly
agree.
for the problems we face out there at Carrefour. And in terms of, the things that you're talking about.
Right. Geraldine?
Well, I was going to ask, but maybe you're already, maybe Chairman Rundle knows. What's the time frame for, is there a document that we need to look through?
He's not
and-
done.
I guess what we're looking for
Yeah.
is consent from you to go forward. Is it like an agreement in principle? Okay. From that point on, we have to draft an agreement
Yeah.
that's going to spell it out.
That's the
way it's set
timeline I
up
was
is
asking about.
if they have 10 schools in the first year that say we want to do this, all 10 will get it. If there's 11, then
One.
the first 10 will.
That's what, I was kind of
So-
wondering what the time frame is for you guys.
It has not been set yet. That's the scary thing. We've kind of been on the front end of this, saying, get ready, get ready, get ready, and that's why we're approaching you tonight, because when they give the state the green light, we want to be one of those first 10 schools.
So you're coming to us
I assume you.
to ask for our nod to, yes, work on it, present us with something we can approve, because I assume we have to look through your
Yeah, and you folks will
curriculum
have to contact the
presentation.
state board.
Yep.
It's not us. We don't contact. The board has to contact them and say, yes, we are giving Clark Fork Junior Senior High School permission to become an innovation school.
And basically, the nice thing is just permission, all the things that Mike spoke about, all of those things you might agree with, or 25%, but it's a collaborative process to land on what it'll look like. So
Okay.
this is just a let us move forward, let us be designated, then we
Yeah.
go.
Yes, wow, that sounds great.
So we need
It
a
does
motion.
sound great.
Yeah,
We ready
before,
for a move?
We need a
before the
motion.
motion, if I may, really quick here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I make a motion.
These guys are going to come and do a full-on kind of study session to talk about master-based learning, talk about their experiential tracks, and then probably a little bit more about this. I had the opportunity to meet with them this week, I think Monday, and they are killing it.
So they're gonna come to the board and
Yeah,
present.
we'll set aside 90 minutes or so to really dig deep into
Right.
what's really happening out there.
At
Good
11 PM tonight?
No.
That'd be great.
stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But thanks, you guys.
Wait,
So, yeah,
Okay, I make a motion that we approve your decision to go ahead with
innovative
the
school design.
innovative school learning and come to us with a document. And I can't wait to see your 90-minute presentation.
Can't wait to give it.
Maybe 60.
Wonderful.
That's it.
I'll second.
Second, okay. Any more discussion, questions?
No, it sounds very,
Yeah.
very
Congratulations.
encouraging, yeah.
All in favor?
Good work.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you, gentlemen. I can't
Thanks,
wait
you
for the
guys.
next
Awesome.
chapter in this story. Okay,
What a neat idea.
you ladies have been so patient, and I didn't really think this was going to be this long. District writing assessment data, Kelly Knowles and
You can just call me
Caution.
Caution.
Okay, no moose and squirrel jokes tonight. Go ahead.
The good news about our presentation is it's short, and we're giving you good news, and we're not asking you for anything. No decision, no decision. Okay, well, we can start without that. So we're here this evening to just talk about our role of supporting writing in the Lake Pend School District, and also just share some really good data.
Right?
So instructional coaches serve a lot of roles in the district. We wear a lot of hats, but one of our main focuses has been to support writing in the district. When I started last year as an instructional coach, that was the big district emphasis, was that all students would write in all grade levels across the content. And then we married that with a PAVE grant that gave us the Step Up to Writing program. So we've really been focusing on that this year. So how we, Tasha and I, support writing in the Lake Pend School District is we provide Step Up to Writing professional development. We actually have become trainers of trainers, so we don't have to have Step Up to Writing pay them to come out and train us anymore. We can do that for our district. And we have building instructional coaches that are called WICs, writing instructional coaches, that are also trainers of trainers. So they can train when we bring on new staff. They can train them on the basis of Step Up to Writing, and they also support in their buildings the programs. We meet with them on a monthly basis in person or via like a Schoology page, just to kind of discuss and support how we're going to continue to make Step Up to Writing a focus and make it accessible to our staff and our students.
We also spend a lot of time at all schools in the Lake Pend School District and wearing different hats on whatever teachers' needs are for us. So sometimes we're just strictly teaching lessons to whole groups of students. We're co-teaching with teachers. We're co-planning. We're just lesson planning for their next writing assessment, looking at how to help kids with their district writing assessment or just implementing Step Up to Writing in the classroom.
And of course, we're always talking to teachers, either via email or we're in their buildings. Just, do you have an idea for this? Or can we get together and co-plan things on this? Follow up. It's always nice to hear that what we planned with them worked and that the kids responded to it. And one main thing we do is we run a district-wide professional development in the fall and spring. And we pull every grade level team together at the district office, and we offer a full professional development day where we look at the district writing samples, we score them, we talk about rubrics, we talk about what makes great writing and expectations at each grade level.
So, and if I could stop here, and this is the unusual part about it is, it's not all together. All the first grade teachers come all at once, and is it a full day with?
It's a full day.
Full day, so every grade level is getting the in-house professional development by these guys.
All the way up to the high school. So the main reason why we are here tonight is because with the district goal being an emphasis on writing across content and all areas, all grade levels, we want to share some good news. And what it is that in the fall, the whole district took the district writing assessment, and we're just finishing up with K1 and 2 right now, but 3 through 11 finished in March. And so far, every school has grown on the district writing assessment in all 3 categories. And our next slide kind of describes the rubric we use and the categories which they're scored on. So we use a rubric. We had every grade level wrote on an informative topic. So that's the type of writing that they wrote on this year. And the rubric that we used was from SBAC, which is the Smarter Balanced Assessment Consortium, which ISAT is, that company creates the ISAT that our students take. It's the ISAT by SBAC.
So we use that rubric to kind of gauge our writing and to get our students ready for the rigor that they were going to be expected from on the ISAT. And the writing that our students created was scored in 3 different areas. A 4-point scale for purpose and organization. And basically what purpose and organization measures is, did the student answer the prompt and how well did they organize their paper? Another 4-point scale was evidence and elaboration, and this is basically how well did the student incorporate the evidence or the sources that they were given into their own writing and then tie it back to their main idea. And then the last area that we scored them on was conventions, which is basically the grammar component, and that's a 2-point scale. And the reason we really like breaking down rubrics like this is because we get specific data back on the areas of strength for our students and also the areas where we need to support them and really focus our writing. So they don't get, it's not like the ISAT where they get an overall score. It's really specific skill-based, detailed data that obviously is really useful to teachers because they've responded and we've seen 100% growth.
And in your packet, there's just kind of a snapshot of it, and we're just so you kind of know, is we're just looking at 3 through 11 because kindergarten, first and second, it's just completely different with those little guys in writing, and their rubric looks different. Teachers are expecting different things, but from 3rd grade all the way up to 11th grade, they're scored on these 3 areas. So it's easier for us to group them together. And also, kindergarten, first and second, we're not meeting with those teachers until next week or the week after.
And so the plan moving forward for the future is we will be giving the district writing assessment again in the fall and the spring. The genre will change. It will be opinion, argument.
And the rubric will change.
And the rubric will change. We're going to shift over and use step up to writing rubrics. They align so closely with the standards, but they're more teacher friendly and kid friendly. And so the kids see them more often than just seeing this SBAC rubric twice a year. So that's just the 2 major change, but we're still going to go ahead with the grade level professional development. Well, Tasha's going to be doing it.
And the support, and we're going ahead with the writing instructional coaches as well.
So
questions for us?
the data looks great. I'd love to even see it on graph, but, I mean, just looking at the data you submitted to us, it's really encouraging.
It is.
And principals do look at their data at their school and digest it and work with the, break it out and drill down with their staff. Before they leave, I'd just like to give I was gonna give like a 5-minute thing, but I'll just give a 32-second thing. I did both of their evaluations today, and we're really lucky. And looking at other districts, they have different type of instructional coach program. And I think something that's been super effective by having these two working together, and Kelly have been in the program for 2 years, is that we have district level stuff, like you just have looked at, programs across the district, that there's not just like pockets of different schools doing things. It's just, the word's not inbred, it's just, what's the word? Infiltrated all throughout the school district. And so you're seeing the level of writing and going throughout the entire district based on what these two, they've just taken it to the next level of rigor. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, obviously they haven't worked
No,
with
and,
vocabulary.
no, it's okay, but the thing is, the nice thing is that it follows the model that a few years back, the Schmoker book that we all read together about how do you scale good practice. And that's exactly what's going on in our district. So great work to you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question. I'd be interested to know why the grammar component is less in terms of points than the others.
Well, I have a theory. And I was an English teacher for 10 years before I became an IC. Now I'm going to be an elementary principal, but we think that it's because conventions it's not a complicated process to score. It's really, you can't beat it a dead horse. I was going to say you can't beat the crap out of it, but it's either it's there or it's not there. And to dissect it any further, and I could show you the rubric and really talk to you about it's, if they are missing their punctuation, they're missing their punctuation. We can't beat it up any more than that. Grades 3 through 11. K1 and 2 are very specific on their grammar because children are just learning that every time you write a sentence, you have to start with a capital letter and end with a period.
And
so we can break it down that way. But the higher we get, the less specific, because we don't have grammar standards that say in 3rd grade you have to teach semicolons, and that's what we're going to score. In 4th grade we're going to add compound sentences. They don't have grammar standards that are that specific, so that's my own personal theory, but Smarter Balance has never returned my calls.
And we're switching rubrics to the Step Up to Writing rubric, which is teacher requested, and it's more specific in the grammar portion.
Okay. So that rubric will look a little different, right?
Like group, so K2 has specific things, 3, 5, and it's standard based.
And because it doesn't average into a holistic score, it's not as big of a factor that it's worth less, because it doesn't factor into like, will you 4 plus 4 plus 2, they don't grade it on the 8-point scale, it's separated out.
Yeah.
One short question.
Yes. Is it written or done on computer?
Do the children write?
Yes.
Yes, they write.
So is there a penmanship component?
Not on the SBAC rubric, but there is a neatness component on the Step Up to Writing rubric.
Anything else?
No, that's
Fine, ladies,
great.
thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
It's,
Sure.
it just reinforces why we have you guys doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you very much.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next agenda item
Is you.
Right, the next two. So this is, I'm giving you like 5 slides really quickly. I'll go really quickly. We had student-led conferences in March. All of the elementaries, 6 of the elementaries, Farmington Stigwell did not participate. They went through the training. They're ready to be on board next year. But 6 of the 7 elementaries took part. I'm not going to read these to you, but I shared them with Kelly and she'll send you this.
Oh, good.
I just want to tell you the overall themes of the, it's like the accountability the students took for their own learning. Some schools had 100% turnout and they were really pleased. Others felt like they could improve. strategies to reach out to parents. Family participation, they felt like they were really focused on their students versus the chores and TV and things that happened to interrupt them, that they really felt like it's a one-on-one connection. A lot of teachers said to watch that connection. The way the students were proud of their work and stepped up and took responsibility. You saw that a lot throughout here. And that the time together was really extrapolated, like they thought they were only going to take, they planned for 15, 20 minutes, and some of them took upwards of 40 minutes by the time they went through. And there's no set schedule because they're sitting with their student and going through the process. So it's organically, it just kind of happens, and so it was really nice for the teachers to see. There's several comments, but I'm just giving you the overall. And then one last piece that was repeated was that what the focus wasn't like the fall on grades, it was on actual work. What are the grade areas you've had? What are your bright spots? And then what areas do you want to improve on? And they were honest with their parents and could share all of that in their portfolio that they put together. So this was one of the survey questions that I did with the staffs, with all the teachers, and I need additional training. You can see that 72.7% said no, that they feel prepared, which I think goes out to Hope and Washington Elementary. There, they had 2 trainers, a primary and an intermediate level teacher from both of those 2 schools that spent a day training teachers and administrators, and Sherry Hatley, Sandy Morris helped with that, to train them. And it was, so we did it all in district, and we coached each other. And you can see that it really worked well. And then there's some specifics that Sean and I and Andrea will work on for next year to do some additional training in the pieces that people had suggestions for. So the areas, the only real area that it was improving that was throughout, the only theme I could come up with was they would like to be able to have some afternoon because it's really just the contract day. So something that Brian and Sean and we could work on is trying to in the future, maybe looking at it, having some flex time where it starts later and goes later, or having some nights where that part, to trade for a day off, similar to like the November conferences. So the best day, when you look at it, we got feedback from the staff. I'll show you who took the feedback. Everyone at the 6 schools that did it. You can see that 50% thought a Friday in March would be the best. So Sean and I discussed it and decided that would be our recommendation. Here, this is the percentage of people who took the survey: teacher, support role, administrator, volunteer, or other. So that leads to my board motion that we approve Friday, March 10th for a student, non-student day, and it'll be K through 6 student-led conferences, and the 7th through 12th will be scoring the spring district writing assessments, which the ladies just spoke to you about. That's about as fast as I can talk.
I be entertaining a motion.
Yeah, go
Make a
ahead.
motion, approval of the district non-student day for Friday, March 10th, 2018.
Second.
Any more questions for Dr. Morrow?
Well, it sounds
Does
great.
the non-student day, where does that get picked up?
What do you mean?
It's already counted.
Friday, March 10th is already yours.
Yep,
so-
but it still already counts as, it doesn't have to be picked up, it's ABA.
Do you know what I'm asking? You're,
If you're
Was it-
replacing,
I was saying, was it a day they were in class and now it's a day they're not in class?
Oh, right. Correct. 7th through 12th was in class, and K through 6 of the elementaries were out, and 1 elementary was in, so we're asking for everyone for that day.
okay. And I've participated in these, and they're really terrific.
Yeah.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next is yours also.
So this was, Brian Smith and Sean and I sent out a calendar change with 1 item. This is the responses. You can see there's 263. It's the most responses I think we've ever had to a survey. And in favor of making the changes or opposed, you can see it was 72.2%. And they would like to move, the Friday, December 23rd. That was 2 days before Christmas, they would like to move and have that day off in exchange for the Friday after the November parent-teacher conferences. We ran that by the association, we ran it out to the membership, and then the administrators and everyone put their 2 cents in. And this was the vote, which is overwhelmingly to change it. So Sean and Brian are recommending jointly that the board approves this calendar change.
Perfect. So I make a motion that we approve the calendar change for Friday, December 23rd, in exchange for the Friday following spring parent-teacher conference.
Second.
Fall parent-teacher conferences, November 11th.
Right. Okay. Joan seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Done. Thank you, Dr. Meyer.
Thank you.
I need a motion on the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Moved second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. Approval category 2 E-rate services, Mr. Olson.
You got to be as fast as Dr. Meyer now.
Yeah.
I'm taking my time.
No, you are not.
Good evening. I'm back to talk about category 2 per the board's request. And I thought this time I'd come with some visuals and probably provide you with a little more education about E-rate and what it is that we're asking for in the technology department. To begin, there are 2 categories that the FCC has divided itself into. It's category 1, which essentially focuses on services necessary to provide connectivity to our buildings, that being our wide area. The other side of that is category 2, and that's focused on connections of devices within schools. Those things being, what our focus is tonight is these internal connections or access points or switches, etc. The FCC, when they decided to split this up into category 2, each individual school has what's called basically a category 2 budget, and I'll get into that in just a little bit. E-rate's annual funding, which again was approved by the FCC, starting the 15-16 and now 16-17 school year, has increased to $1.5 billion and is expected to allow about 101,000 schools to participate in that, along with about 61,000 libraries. And you can see highlighted in yellow, the purpose again is to expand our wireless access. And that is again why we're here. Okay, category 2 funding budget is $150 per student with a minimum building cap of $9,200. It's minimum. So for example, if there was a school that had 50 students, you would multiply that by 150, you get $7,500. That school, although it's $7,500, would still get $9,200. It's that floor cap. Money is going to be allocated to a building based on that enrollment formula. It is not it's not on a district-wide basis. We, as a district or as an applicant, have the option to request this all up front, which is what we would like to do, or request it over the course of 5 years. I've already mentioned this a little bit. What can E-rate 2 funding do? Internal connections, that's what we want to do. The original proposal that I presented to the board on April 12th, after E-rate, was $138,000 and some change. You challenged us to go back and take a look at some other numbers, so I did that. And I came up with 2 other options, working with our network engineer, Christian Boone, and a representative from Ednetics. So the 2 options are as follows. Option 1, this is our preferred option, and the yellow number is that percentage after E-rate, $115,000. We looked at hardware specs and we revised those specs. Secondly, and it's important, is as a benefit, all schools benefit from this. Essentially more reliable access to wireless connectivity, iPads, things of that nature. Option 2, the board was particularly interested in, and that's looking at the partial school options with the potential builds of a north side, Sandpoint Middle School, Washington, etc. So we've taken those options, those partial schools out of the equation, leaving us with $99,000 and some change after E-rate. So if you look at option 1 and option 2 after E-rate, $115,000 versus $99,000 after E-rate, is it a big significant? I don't know, my opinion. Again, partial school options, there would be schools left out of this option, and someone had, one of the board members had suggested, can we take what we're asking for here and include it in these new construction builds if and when they happen? Certainly. However, keep in mind that with E-rate, we're paying 30 cents on the dollar. Would we be paying 30 cents on the dollar in a new construction build? My answer is probably not. So I'm asking this if and then. I don't want the dollar amount after E-rate. We are not on the bill for this. It's this if and then scenario. If funding is secured by E-rate, if we have funds allocated within the district budget, then we can negotiate the terms of a contract to move forward. If we decide that no, we don't want to use this money, we're just asking for money so that we have it. If we don't spend that money that we get from E-rate, which would come in roughly in July, then we say we're not going to use that money, we're not going to use all the money. It goes back into the kitty, and it's not used against us in our school. $150 per student formula. That was as quick as I could go.
Good. So, recommendation?
Do you want to?
I have one quick question. On your slide before where you talked about the partial schools, I think the reason we asked that was, is it money down the drain? Like to invest in APs and switches at the middle school, is it something that, yeah, I get your 30 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
Is it something that can be transferred
You move
over?
it with them.
Absolutely.
We take it with us
Absolutely.
into the new construction, so
Yeah.
I get it. It
Absolutely.
makes sense because we don't lose it in the new construction.
Correct.
We were thinking, why put money into it if you're
Yeah.
gonna have to start over?
Yeah, it's
But
not.
we don't
it's not
lose
a
that.
big-
Recommendation is option 1.
Thank you.
Would be, well, you don't have to do that. It's just approving that we go after category 2 E-rate services. That's it.
Okay.
So, yeah, would you like to entertain a motion?
Yes, it would.
Go
I'll make
ahead,
a
Barb.
motion of approval of the category 2 E-rate services.
Second? Someone?
Second?
Okay. We done with discussion?
Yeah, thank you for making it very clear
I
and
think.
All in favor?
user-friendly.
Aye.
Thanks.
Opposed? Okay, we're gonna push off the Idaho Education Law Conference update
It's a great idea.
until the next time we have time, because this has gone way past my bedtime. And with that,
Can I give you
There's
something
no
quick?
announcement?
if you have an announcement, it better be
It's
short.
very short. So I'm going to give you guys one of these.
Okay.
You know Kathy Prummer. She is a published author now. This is in a math journal.
Oh, right.
She will be a full-time instructional math coach for us next year,
Oh,
paid for by Washington State University, University of Idaho, jointly. She's all ours. So anyhow, just take that with you. That's her.
That's great.
Yeah.
thank you, everyone.
Adjourn?
Adjourned.